York Minute Sports Show. Brian Cashman should be out of town on a Greyhound bus with Austin Wells because he did not address what's going on with the Yankees. Mike from Pudgy Boyz Sports with a Z joins us here live. We're going live for our live stream for the Major League Baseball trade deadline. We had ups, we had downs, we had valleys, we had gaps. Mike, how are you?
I'm good, man. We had two totally different perspectives from the deadline for the both of us this year. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. All right.
Great show.
That's a great show. All right, guys, listen. It was good knowing you. And I hope. All right, so Major League Baseball, guys, the New York Yankee fan base right now is absolutely going out of their mind on the socials, on the YouTubes, because Austin Wells is still the catcher of the New York Yankees, and Brian Cashman refused to go get a catcher today, but we'll get to that whole story. But one of the biggest moves of the day, Mike, was none other than Adley Rutschman going from the Baltimore Orioles to the Boston Red Sox. What did you think about that one?
Yeah, I mean, I looked at the trade, and I looked at Rushman, and I looked at what he's been doing for the last couple of months, besides being injured. I don't know what the fuss is from Yankee fans. Maybe you can correct me, dude. I don't know what the whole holdup is with Yankee fans with Adley Rutschman and trying to think that he's that biggest of an upgrade that he. I mean, he's an upgrade over Wells, but I don't look at Rushman. I don't get that excited if I'm a Yankees fan.
No, I think that the New York Yankees dodged a huge bullet by not acquiring Rushman because if you look at actually what the Boston Red Sox gave up as far as prospects, they gave up a boatload. It was better than the Skubal deal, what they did to give up for this guy. Now, mind you, if the New York Yankees, and I literally texted this to my father today, if the New York Yankees traded for a player that is currently on the injured list, I'd tear out my hair with a clamshell and I'd lock myself in a mental institution ASAP because Rushman is hurt all the time. He's got wrist issues. He's on the IL. And you know what, Mike? You can never trust a trade from inside the division. It's like a Trojan horse. There's a reason that the Baltimore Orioles are getting rid of a homegrown guy.
Yeah, they it seems like they pitted both interdivision rivals against one another with the Red Sox and the Yankees, and the Yankees' desperation for the catching position really kind of bit them, and I think it made the Red Sox pay a little more. And that I don't think that Cashman didn't know that in the back of his head. As much as people want to, bash on Cash, I'm gonna trademark that bash on Cash.
Cash on cash.
This is like I think what the Yankees put themselves in the position forced the Red Sox to pay even more to acquire Rushman from the Orioles.
Well, obviously, we're going to hear from Brian Cashman. We're going to hear the greatest hits. It's going to be like the
Yeah.
Beatles One album, all right? It's going to be an hour and 45 minutes of the greatest hits that you grew up with. Like the song that you fell in love with. The guys we're getting back from the injuries are better than anybody at the trade deadline, like Aaron Judge, Cody Bellinger, and Giancarlo Stanton. We're going to hear that, Mike. And guess what? Yankee fans do not want to hear that right now. I feel like an indentured servant doing a post-game show to this offense, which is the last in all of Major League Baseball right now. It is like water torture watching the Yankees on the offensive side of the ball. They got it locked down starting pitching. They got locked down bullpen. Even in fact, bro, I would have liked to see Cashman try to light all the fires, even go after Nathan Eovaldi. My friend thought I was crazy for this, but I think a guy from like Nathan Eovaldi from the Texas Ranger got a chip with the Red Sox, got a chip with the Texas Rangers. This guy turns into a completely different pitcher when postseason happens. You put that guy in the 4 spot because I still don't trust Carlos Rodon. Ryan Weathers, Ryan Bad Moon Rising Weathers, Will Warren, they cannot be trusted in a big spot to start a playoff game. So they get put to middle relief. They're usually not good out of the block, so I don't know how that's going to translate into the middle relief. But what everybody, Mike, from Yankee Land and the New York Nuts right here watching, don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe to Mike from Pudgy Boyz Sports as well. But what everyone is up in arms about is that we've seen Austin Wells and Anthony Volpe now, two products from the Yankees farm system, Mike, that have not panned out. And today, he could have had his chance to get a catcher. They were looking at the catcher from the Cincinnati Reds. We don't know the price tag on that right now. But I think that Brian Cashman could have done a lot more to help this team. Now, the New York Yankees have more excuses than a pregnant nun, Mike, okay? What they do is they're going to tell you, probably in the postgame press conference, I'm looking through my crystal ball, is they're going to give you Ali Sanchez has been actually hitting really well lately, and that he's swinging the bat. He had 3 hits in the game the other night, so the Yankees are going to try to wrap up that turd and give you a shit sandwich, and you're going to go, can I have another bite, sir?
Well, I think one thing that's obviously going to happen deadline-wise is George Lombard's going to get the call up relatively quickly. That'll kind of calm the Met fan. Excuse me, I'm all Metsed out right now. That'll calm the Yankee fan down slightly. Actually, how they call up Lombard as early as next week? What would you think about that?
My thoughts on Lombard is that he's not ready. They're going to try to bring him up a year ahead of schedule, and that's the reason that Austin Wells and Anthony Volpe are in the predicament that they're in right now. Is because if you remember, let's go back 3 years in the Wayback Machine, is that Austin Wells and Anthony Volpe were brought up because of injuries. This team is perpetually hurt. And now all you have is scenario guys and matchup guys, and we'll get into that. But the Yankees have a bunch of bench player infielders on their team, and they could have done a better job to share it up. But, Mike, you know this better than anybody. After Skubal went over to L.A. and they assembled the Death Star, now construction is complete, the strike is going to happen. Winter is coming in 2027. How sure are you about a strike, and how do you think that impacted this year's trade deadline?
It had to have, right? I think who was the biggest bat to move? Was it Garcia from the Yankees? I'm going to the Yankees, and then
Rutschman, I think, is the biggest bat.
Yeah, it could be Rutschman.
You catches got a guy in the top 3 MVP when he's healthy every year.
Yeah, true. This trade deadline had a lot of movement, but it seemed like it didn't have a lot of quality, like a lot of quantity over quality at this deadline, because you didn't see a lot of major names being dealt around or a lot of big-time contracts being shifted around, because nobody knows what the hell the new CBA is going to look like, or after the lockout or after the strike. One team that doesn't care about it is the Los Angeles Dodgers. They don't care whether it's a lockout. They'll go 3 straight championships, kick their feet back. And then you look at the Dodgers again. This is, dude, it blows my mind. You think that they're done, and then they go out and acquire the kid Bubic from the Royals just out of nowhere, just for fun. He's hurt, and it doesn't matter because they're going to have him at the end of the year. They just added Skubal. I mean, the one team that seems like they're going at it, not caring, is the Los Angeles Dodgers.
Well, and the LA Dodgers are like the preppers of Major League Baseball. They're literally building a bunker in the side of a mountain for when the apocalypse comes, which is going to be the lockout. They're like, all right, might as well just take everything on the surface of the earth before we have to go underground for a whole year.
Yeah, but it shouldn't really affect a lot of what teams like the Yankees should have done. I mean, the Brewers had a very dull deadline. I think the Cubs had I mean, there's multiple teams that could have made an all-in type move at the deadline this year, and they just chose not to. Whether it's for the lockout,
the Brewers were our Hodor, you know, like yeah. They were at the door. They were supposed to hold the beasts at bay, Mike, and they completely let us down. And Brian Cashman let us down. You know what? The Yankees, our days of going out and getting the big price guy is over. Okay, we're not that. That's the Dodgers' job now. So now it's up to you guys, like the New York Mets and the Milwaukee Brewers and the Philadelphia Phillies, to go out and spend and take guys away from teams, Scott. Like, you almost have to take people out of their hands, because the New York Yankees wouldn't be able to do it money-wise, because right now, and as of next year, and we don't know what the CBA is going to look like, but as of right now, you have Carlos Rodon, who's making $28 million a year. Max Fried, who's making 17, is going to balloon up to 40 next year. Then you got Garrett Cole making in the 30s. So you're going to have like $120 million locked up just in 4 starters. Then the payday is going to have to come for Cam Schlittler eventually, and he's going to get mega bucks if he continues on his path.
Yeah, that's why the whole cap situation is kind of weird, because what would the number even be at that point? If you set up a cap of like 300 million and a floor of 100 or anything like that, like the Yankees have 3 starting pitchers that are already almost half that payroll. So that's why, like, I don't know how everything would be adjusted. I don't know how money would be adjusted. I guess that these guys would maybe be grandfathered in moving forward. I don't know how they would deal with the contract situations.
Do you think the Skubal trade hindered people from trading, or did that start off like the question I'm asking you is with Skubal, when the Dodgers got him, and it was pretty much the first move of the trade deadline, right? It started it off. Were other teams like, man, I'm not going to go all in to win a World Series this year when the Dodgers just did what they did. It's kind of like, let's go with the guys in-house now.
I could see some general managers maybe doing that, but like, what's the point? Like, I don't understand.
What I'm saying is, like, you risk your future with all the AAA guys just to make it to the World Series. I'm not saying that the Dodgers winning are a foregone conclusion, but Vegas has them as a heavy favorite right now. Gun to your head, the Dodgers are going to win the World Series. They're absolutely stacked and loaded. It's kind of like in the NBA when you get on that 3-year approach, and it's like, okay, the Golden State Warriors are clogging things up right now, or it depends on the hot team at the time. No one's getting past these LA Dodgers. So maybe when they get Skubal and they get the final piece, they get the final Infinity Stone in the gauntlet, they're like, you know what? What am I going to do? Risk the house just to get to the World Series this year? Like, I don't know.
What infuriates me the most about Major League Baseball and these owners, like the Brewers, I'm really heavy on the Brewers right now. I don't know why I'm so attacking the Brewers the last 48 hours.
Well, because they Trojan horse ruined your franchise by giving you Stearns. So it's probably like,
and Peralta.
Yeah, by osmosis. Oh, and thank you for Peralta going to Tampa Bay, by the way.
Oh, he's going to light it up. He's going to light it up.
Let's tee him up, baby. Let's go.
But, bro, like, the Milwaukee Brewers have one of the better farm systems in all of baseball. Now, instead of taking those prospects and shipping them over to the Detroit Tigers, whether you want to go all in or not, now instead you allowed them to go to a team who, if you start lining up now, and it's game 1 of the National League Division Series, which is a 5-game series now, which anything can happen in those short series. Anything that can happen. If you were able to get a Tarik Skubal and line up against the Dodgers 2 times in that series, you have just as good a shot as anybody else of beating them. Now, because you're too cheap and you're too hesitant to go out and get a guy like Skubal and risk your future because of your beautiful prospects, now you're going to have to face Skubal multiple times, and he's going to be the one to send you home. That's what infuriates me so much about these teams.
Yeah, and you know what? They could do a CC Sabathia 2.0 when he got traded from the Cleveland Indians at the time, and he went over to the Milwaukee Brewers, and he had like 14 starts in the second half of the season, and he was doing 3 days rest to get these guys in the playoffs, and it was just lights out, and that's what you could. The Philadelphia Phillies should have tried to go after him, but this is the thing, Mike, with Skubal, and I think a lot of people are missing this point about him. From what the Dodgers gave up, it is apparent, it is glaring that the Detroit Tigers went up to Skubal and go, where do you want to go? Because the Tigers did not go and get the best trade for what their organization needed. What the Yankees were offering were a lot more. What the Tampa Bay Rays were offering were a lot more. Skubal wanted to go be a Giant for a half-year rental. Then what if the Yankees go and get him? You're going to give up all this equity again for a half-year rental for overkill on one of your strongest positions? Because I think right now Max Fried, Cam Schlittler, and Garrett Cole match up against Yamamoto. We don't know what kind of Blake Snell you're going to get back. And now Skubal. And by the way, Skubal's never won anything. So he hasn't had that CC Sabathia throw a team on his back, go win a chip, win a World Series, and make a statement in the playoffs. Hell, I mean, I know that his life just got a lot easier, Mike. But Skubal, I think that the Tigers went up to him and they're like, thanks for your service. He's been there since he was a kid. And they're like, all right, where you want to go?
That's complete malpractice on the Detroit Tigers side of things, then, because you got the hottest commodity in baseball at the left-handed starting pitcher for 2 months, and you just ship him over to a team that's already loaded. That's complete malpractice if that's the case.
Yeah, and I had said this before on a bunch of posts that I've been saying that, like, hey man, as a Yankee fan, I have no leg to stand on, and in fact, as a Met fan now, you guys see what goes out when you go out and buy everything. It doesn't mean it's going to equate to championships. The LA Dodgers are playing three-dimensional chess while everybody else is picking their nose. Okay, they got the private equity into their team. The first people to get that, you can get up to 15 to 20% of a private equity company into the franchise. Dodgers were the first ones to do that. Dodgers were the first one to get lawyers and get those loopholes about the deferred money. Boom. Everybody could have been doing this, Mike, but the Dodgers are the ones that did it. Not only is their farm system excellent, it's not like they're top heavy. It's not like they got a bunch of veterans and when they leave, they're going to be in the bottom again. They got a great farm system. They got money pouring in. You know when the New York Yankees got a private equity included into their company? This year, about a month ago. So now that company is going to throw $4 billion in there, liquid, that the Yankees can use so Hal doesn't have to go into his mom's purse and try to get money out every time he wants to acquire somebody. And don't fool yourself, Mike. That played into it big time on this one. With the strike looming and Hal counts his pennies, bro, he was like, we don't know. He does not like a sure thing. And when there is speculation out there and there's a lot of gray area, he is not going to go spend. And really, with the way that the trade market is, Mike, would you think this is one of the worst trade markets I've seen in a long time?
Specifically, like we said before, yeah, a lot of quantity in this trade market, but not a lot of guys that are going to move the needle for you that much if you're trying to contend for a World Series.
Yeah, and you know what? It's kind of crazy. It's getting back to like the Andy Rushman going to Boston Red Sox, and everybody's up in arms about this. And the New York Yankee fans want a catcher, and I get it. But like, what we have to ask ourselves as Yankee fans is like, do we just want to move for move's sake? Like, do we just want the big splash just to get the big splash? Because if you think about it, at the end of the day, and we'll get into the first acquisition of the week. Well, first was Duvall going to the Pittsburgh Pirates for cash considerations and a mop in a bucket and a bag of oranges. But we got Garcia, right? And we got Garcia today from the Nationals or last night. And this is good, but he's a left-hander, 23 home runs, 76 RBIs, got the best slugging percentage in all of Major League Baseball. And all the Yankee fans are asking, how is he going to match? How is he going to fit into the New York Yankees? The way that he's going to fit, Garcia will play against left-handed pitching. Paul Goldschmidt, I got it the opposite around. Dyslexia, baby. Paul Goldschmidt will hit against left-handed pitching, and Garcia will hit against right-handed pitching. They will platoon at first. Ben Rice will get moved to the DH spot until help arrives, even if it does arrive. So now you've lengthened your batting order, and now the bad part about this is that you have all platoon guys. This team is just full of platoon guys and matchup guys, and this is why partial of the reason that the New York Yankees offense is in the gutter this year, they're last in all of baseball, is because they're never allowed to get a rhythm going, Mike. There,
No.
it's you hit 2 home runs, you're benched the next day. You get to play from the 7th inning on. How can anybody get anything going offensively and into a rhythm when you're playing them sporadically like that? And baseball has gone to that. It's gone to the matchup.
Yeah, you can't. And then, I mean, I saw some Yankee fans saying, "Oh, how are we gonna when Judge and Stanton and Bellinger?" That's a problem that you don't have to worry about right now because the only guys that are here are the guys that are here. Cashman should have operated this deadline as if those 3 guys were not going to return for the rest of the season. And if those 3 guys don't come back, you now have a Garcia he's one of the better hitters in the entire National League, and he's going straight to the 3-hole.
Absolutely, and that's exactly where he's going to go. But the reason I bring up this trade acquisition is that you had 2 guys. You had Luis Ariz, or is it Arise, whatever it is, potato. And then you had Garcia. But this is why it's a microcosm of where the Yankees front office's head is at and where Brian Cashman and where the baseball heads in the front office think about baseball. You know, Garcia is the perfect example of that. Strikes out a lot. Even though he still hits for a high average, he's hitting at 287, 23 home runs, 76 RBIs. But you have a guy that's a point guard. I like to call them point guards. He's a leadoff Luis Garcia. He can hit from the point. He can hit from the number 1 or the number 3 spot, and he can set the table, put the ball in play, a contact hitter, which we Yankee fans and the New York Nuts right here on New York Minute Sports have been begging for forever, Mike. So now the New York Yankees have not made major moves, and you had these two guys. And that just shows where the Yankees' head is that they'd rather go for the guy with the high slugging rather than the high on-base percentage.
What do you think about, I wanted to ask about, did they miss out on anything else aside from catcher that you wanted to see? I probably would have thought another bullpen guy would have been, especially after they traded Duvall.
This is exactly what I was I was upset about today was Luke Weaver. I would have liked to see a little Dream Weaver reunion. We could have used 2 more solid arms in the bullpen, and we could have used swing and miss stuff because we have a lot of contact guys. And how the mighty have fallen, Mike. We've gone as Yankee fans from getting Skubal, right, to getting Mason Miller, to getting Bozo the Clown and Jar Jar Binks on the All-Star break. So that's like at the trade deadline, people are going to be disappointed, and they should be. Brian Cashman should have done his due diligence to bring in another catcher. This has been a problem before the season even started, Mike.
Yeah, I mean, there was Tyler Stevenson, Goodwin, and Goodman, and maybe Francisco Alvarez were the 3 guys that could have been had, but then I read Goodman wasn't even going to be available unless the price was extremely high. Yeah. And I don't know. How far are you willing to go to upgrade a position that just by bringing in like you or me, it's almost like an upgrade. Like it wasn't going to take much.
But they get cute, man. They're going to be talking about the guys coming back from injuries. Remember, LaGranha, okay? LaGranha is still hurt in AAA. He throws 104. They're still expecting him to come back and contribute to this team. They're still waiting for Cody Bellinger to come back and contribute. Giancarlo Stanton, Aaron Judge. That's a lot of question marks, Mike. So, like, they don't know to shit or get off the pot, to be honest with you, is because they're kind of caught in limbo. They're going to add all this payroll while they got these guys coming back, and then where's everyone going to fit when they come back? Then they go and get Elliot Ramos from the San Francisco Giants today. By the way, to get Garcia, they gave up a bag of balls. They gave Jake Bird up and Cruz up. Not Fernando Cruz, but the other Cruz. So they got nothing for him. They got cash considerations for Duvall and a prospect, number 12 in the Pittsburgh system. And then today you get a guy like Elliot Ramos who's got 9 home runs, 34 RBIs, hits 264, on base of 304, OPS is 728. So what he did right now is he upgraded left field. Schumann got brought down to AAA today, who's been playing outfield like he's on roller skates. It looks like the moment's a little bit too big for him. So now he's upgraded that position. So now you have brought offense in day one to the New York Yankees, and you have upgraded. When Garcia walked into this team, Mike, with his average, he's the second best hitter on the New York Yankees.
Oh, yeah, easily. Getting Garcia. Ramos, I want to get back to Ramos. I'm not a fan of the Ramos signing. I know he's an upgrade. Like I said, he strikes out. I saw it 3 times more than he walks. And come October, that's just going to kill you. It might get you through the regular season, but come October, if he's starting, first of all, he might not be starting, which is
no. If it comes October, this is the bridge. We need a bridge gap. So we're giving what Brian Cashman did today, and we'll try to give him some credit, is that what Brian Cashman did, he took tertiary guys from AAA and AA, and he made the team immediately better in the now with 2 bats that you can put into the lineup and lengthen out that lineup now. That's exactly what the Yankees need. They got more right-handed, which with the guy from San Francisco Giants. He's a right-handed power hitter. He's got some pop. His average is already like fourth on the team, Mike. He's going to be like fourth in hits, bro. It's so bad. I'm telling you, I don't think you understand. This is like the Jacob deGrom New York Mets. This is what the offense has gotten to, okay? So we'll take anything right now. But what he's done is he has improved the team. He wants to bridge the gap until help arrives, which is Cody Bellinger, Giancarlo Stanton, and Aaron Judge. So when you get Cody Bellinger back, he plugs into left field. Aaron Judge, you can put him in right field or you can put him at DH. Ben Rice at first base. Then you can get Trent Grisham, who belongs on a Greyhound out of town. And I got to call Michael Kay, but he takes too many days off. I got to turn the table in that old folks home. Spencer Jones, Jason Dominguez, who they didn't move. And that's another thing that we're really not talking about as Yankee fans, is that the New York Yankees, we heard Spencer Jones for the past year and a half, his name mentioned in trades, the left-handed Aaron Judge, the left-handed Ohtani. They put his swing on the garage floor, took it apart like a transmission from a Datsun and put it back together, and he's got an 827 OPS right now and showing signs of life. Jason Dominguez is a knucklehead. He plays like he took his brain out and threw it into a microwave and put it on the rinse cycle. Even if microwaves have rinse cycles, I don't think they do, but he'd find one on the microwave. Him and Gleyber Torres and Jason Dominguez remind me of each other so much. Like, they're the same guy. Little dopey, great ball player, great ability. So they have shown enough. But what I said was when Cody Bellinger got hurt, Mike, is that they were going to need these guys to play every single day because there's nobody in the farm system to trade. They couldn't trade these guys anymore. It's not so much the Yankees like these guys, is the fact that they needed bodies and couldn't trade them.
Yeah, they've reached that point now with these guys who are officially up. The Volpe, I don't want to put Volpe in the same sentence. I apologize. With Spencer Jones and Dominguez and these guys that are officially up now with the squad, it's either S or get off the pot. Like, it is these are the guys that we're going to be rolling with. Like, these are the guys we decided to hang on to, and they're going to be adding Lombard extremely soon. And like you said, Lombard, along with a couple of these guys getting healthy and coming back, that's the trade deadline for the New York Yankees this year.
Yeah, and we keep hearing about it every single year, is that it's going to be, and you know what? And I forgot myself, Clark Schmidt. So now, we've gone past this trade deadline, and some of the moves, the best bets you make in gambling are the bets that you don't place, right? So the New York Yankees, at the end of the day, they still got LaGrange, they still got Spencer Jones. They still have acquired all of their prospects. Dax Kilby didn't go anywhere. Elmer Rodriguez Cruz is still in the organization. So we still have a lot of farm system guys. And hell, right now, the New York Yankees, as is, are still 14 games above 500, guys. This team right now, with the pitching that they have, I still think that they can get to the American League Championship Series, okay? That's without Stanton, Cody Bellinger, and Aaron Judge. I think they could make it that far. But unless they get those guys back, they're not going to the World Series. Now, if you add those three guys I just mentioned and add LaGrange throwing 104 that the league hasn't seen all season long, the New York Yankees go to the head of the line as the best team in the American League. Not in all Major League Baseball, but the Yankees are the best team in the American League, hands down.
I agree. Yeah, I mean, they're the best team, like you said, in such a weak American League. They're the best team, I think, by far, especially when everybody's healthy. I don't even think it's close.
Well, if the Tampa Bay Rays, the problem is that the Tampa Bay Rays play baseball. Okay? They move runners over. I think like when they scored more than 3 runs, they're like 21 games above 500 this year. It's something insane. They play baseball. They play fundamental baseball, good defense, hit and run, pop flies, all the stuff that makes Brian Cashman's skin crawl, okay? They are the complete opposite. And it's so funny, man. The Philadelphia Phillies, New York Yankees dynamic, they're like kissing sisters or whatever they call it, bro. They're intertwined galactically, all right? They are the New York Yankees of the NL East. The guy Arise that we were going to get, or Garcia, and they get Arise. And they got Donnie Baseball as their manager, and they got the same problems as us.
But dude, it's so like just moving forward. Now the deadline's over. The team is what it is. Moving forward, it's so important that the Yankees go and win this division. They have to win this division. I do not want to get caught up in a short wild card series. I don't care if it's the White Sox, the Guardians. It doesn't matter what team it is. I do not want to get caught up in a short wild card series, and they might have the pitching for it. But anytime you have those little 3-game series, those worry me way too much.
Yeah, and especially it lines up right now. And if I had to put money on it, I would say you're going to get a 3-game set if the Yankees don't win the division. Boston Red Sox, New York Yankees. And you do not.
You don't want. I don't want that.
We lived through it last year, and we got lucky. Okay, but with Crochet coming back, and the way that the Boston Red Sox are playing, and with Andy Rushman, we don't know what we're going to get from him when he comes back with his wrist and he's perpetually hurt. But the Boston Red Sox have made aggressive moves to try to make their team better, which Brian Cashman didn't do. But Brian Cashman has the guys on the books, man. And I'd really like to hear from him what he's got to say about how the trade deadline went down. And they don't want to relinquish a lot of the deals that didn't want to go through because they don't want to mess up the chemistry in the locker room.
Yeah, you're not going to hear much about. Maybe some reporter will leak out what the Yankees might have been offering for Rutschman, but you can't take much solace in the fact that I think you take solace in the fact that Cashman's been doing this for a quarter of a century now. This isn't new to him. So, as disappointed as I would be as a Yankee fan with the deadline, and I think some Yankee fans are, most of them are, I got to be able to trust in Cashman's ability to understand the market. And it seemed like it was a really rough market for hitting, not so much for pitching, but not giving up the entire farm for guys like Tyler Stevenson. I can't get too angry at that.
Yeah, and with a poor, and when Ben Retrovert, who was the 4th catcher on the New York Yankees 3 years ago, goes to the Tampa Bay Rays, I can't be heartbroken about that one, okay? And this is just that it's very similar to the rest of baseball. Production's down. The quality of baseball's down. Everybody blows in the American League, okay? Everyone's like 3 games. They're just treading water in the American League. That means everybody's still in it. So, no one's going to – we thought the Padres were going to be sellers. They wound up being buyers. They were buying. Year, dude. Then the Toronto Blue Jays wind up selling, and then they buy. So, people really were weary. And then you had teams – like the Atlanta Braves, who said that they were going to make a big move for Skubal, and the Brewers, they did nothing. And you know what? The Atlanta Braves are your canary in the coal mine, Mike, because they're the ones that are smartest with their money. And what did they do in the trade deadline?
Not much. What did they do, the Braves?
From what I saw, not much.
I know they wanted they were heavy for DeGrom, but DeGrom decided not to waive his no trade to go anywhere else.
I wonder if that's a New York thing.
I know he can't stand New York. That's
Well, what I'm saying is maybe the Yankees took a waiver on him because Will Warren's a Texas boy. They were trying to move him to Houston and Texas. Apparently, that was the word around town.
Yeah. But, one thing I want to quickly bring up, so I could just throw this in if you don't mind. All the teams that the Mets sold their core to wound up being sellers at the deadline. That's all I want to say.
Oh, so they're insurgents. They're the Hamas of baseball. Guys, listen, I just wanted to let you know, sound off in the comments below. We're going to be answering your questions for the last remainder of the show. Super Chats get put to the front of the line, guys, and Super Chats will get thrown on the screen. But ask any questions that you want to the right. It's me and Mike from Pudgy Boyz Sports, and that's a Z on the boys, guys. Go over and like and subscribe his YouTube page, and he's blowing up on Instagram. Go over there and check it out. He's got the Giants, he's got the Knicks, and he's got the Mets covered for you. And also, we do a Mondays membership show. Today was a little bit different because we had the trade deadline. We were in battle stations, right? So we have a show behind the paywall for $1.99 a month. You get twice the show for half the dough. What do you get for $1.99 a month anymore? Absolutely nothing. So the New York Yankees, are they a failure in this trade deadline? Let me know in the comments below. Are you happy with the trades that they made? Do you want to run Brian Cashman out of town? Let me know in the comments below, guys. Well, listen, do you think right now with the New York Mets and what they did in selling, do you think that they trimmed the fat or they gutted the team?
Uh, they got rid of the guys that they had to get rid of with the most value, and then the guys who just weren't under contract for the most part. The more valuable guys like Clay Holmes, Luke Weaver, Brazaban, Rayleigh, all the guys that they dealt away had to be dealt because they were up in value at an all-time high for their careers.
And I heard Michael Conforto was actually going to be on the block, but all the guys that they did get rid of had very good years, and that was just more egg in Stern's face. And just as far as the New York Yankees and the New York baseball scene is concerned, they're just begging for the season to be over at this point.
Yeah, now that the deadline's, as a Mets fan, this was like the last. It's unfortunate and it's really sad, dude. Like, as a Mets fan, this deadline was the last thing to care about for the remainder of the baseball season. Obviously, you're going to sit here and watch the young players, Benj, Ewing, a couple of these guys that they brought up that they're going to bring up from the minor leagues, but that's it. Like, it's just the deadline was the final step for this 2026 season for the New York Mets, and it's just a very sad thing to come to grips with.
So, we got a question. Do you think that we would be in the position if our captain accepted Cashman's original offer of 213 for 7 years? I don't think that Aaron Judge's contract is the thing that's hindering us from doing trades. Also, another comment I see right here is about Lombard Jr. When is he going to come up? And should he come up, because it's way overdue and he's better than Volpe? Well, let me just tell you something about Anthony Volpe, folks. I feel like Fire Marshal Bill. Let me tell you something. Anthony Volpe, just like me this summer covering the New York Yankees, is an indentured servant. When they brought him down earlier this year to AAA, they brought him down there for 28 days on purpose. That made his contract jump to 2029. So if you think that you're tired of watching Anthony Volpe, it's only just begun to live. You're going to see Noodle Arm. Mark my words, guys. I've been saying this for a year and a half right here on New York Minute Sports, that Anthony Volpe is the future second baseman of this team. He has the arm for it. He's got the mental makeup for it. And when Jazz Chisholm goes to ask for 300 million space bucks and he gets laughed in his face, that's what's going to go down. Caballero at short, Lombard at third. And in fact, this is the thing about Lombard, Mike, is that he is a Gold Glove level hitter. I mean, he has a Gold Glove level fielding at shortstop, third base, and above average at second base. But this guy's bat isn't ready. And when you bring up guys too early, look at the catcher that you have that fell off the face of the earth. When you bring these guys up and they get overwhelmed by Major League Baseball, it happened to Spencer Jones and Jason Dominguez, that they stunt their growth.
Yeah, I mean, Volpe won a Gold Glove his rookie year.
What'd you say?
Volpe won a Gold Glove his rookie year.
Yeah, because everybody else sawed their arms off. I mean, like, nobody else played defense at shortstop other than him that year. And every single year since then, he has completely regressed. That's why, the rest of the league, when the term I say on this show a lot is the book gets out on guys. And when the book gets out on guys, other teams find out how to actually pitch to these guys. It happened to Ben Rice in midway through the season this year. Usually takes teams about a year and a half to get on page with knowing actually how to get guys out. And guess what? They figured out Anthony Volpe. Throw him a high fastball, and he's going to swing for his heels, and then his father's going to get into a verbal argument with you in the goddamn crowd.
Now, I know you'll be able to do this because, contrary to popular belief, Eric is level-headed as a fan. He's very level-headed. But will you be more impatient with Lombard when he gets called up because of the expectations and Volpe, and you just want him to be so much better and locked into that shortstop position because of the failure of Anthony Volpe? Because, I mean, you remember it. I do the same thing with my prospects. When they come up, the excitement level for the guys that have been built up specifically is at an all-time high, and Lombard is the next guy in line for Yankee fans that they've anointed the next great thing.
Yeah, it worries me a lot because the New York Yankees aren't good at producing farm players. I mean, we have Ben Rice, Robinson Cano, Aaron Judge in the last 25 years. But if anybody was named Oswaldo or Pereira, okay, or Montero in the past 25 years, they were a positional player for the Yankees. They got moved and did absolutely nothing. Let me give you some other names: Miguel Andujar, Anthony Volpe, Austin Wells. So I have zero confidence whatever comes out of the farm system. I've said it before on this show that Brian Cashman is the best used car salesman that you've ever met in your life. He builds these clunkers up and he trades them off. And then when nobody bites on the clunker, it's left in the lot for the next 6 years, like Austin Wells and Anthony Volpe. And you see exactly what they are. They were calling Jason Dominguez the Martian, Mike. He looks quite pedestrian to me. He looks like a citizen of Earth, okay, to me. And Spencer Jones is the left-handed Aaron Judge. Spencer Jones looks like a left-handed Richie Sexton right now, okay? Speaking of the Milwaukee Brewers. So
you could give me give me the Ben Rice Cam Schlittler hype 100 times out of 100 over the prospects like Volpe or Lombard or any of these guys. You know why you want that hype? Because there was not that much hype. Nobody saw this.
Nobody. I mean, listen, I got to admit, I got to give myself credit here. I almost got my friend divorced 2 years ago, 3 a.m. You know, I don't go to bed until like 5. I'm a night owl. Texting him at 3 a.m. watching Ben Rice in Double-A. And I would use him on MLB The Show in my like 10th year of the franchise. So I knew he was going to cook. And I would just send bowls of rice to him going, Ben Rice, big things. Just waking him and his wife up the whole time. So I thought big things about Ben Rice. But I've been wrong about a lot of guys and a lot of prospects. And that's what we said before. Baseball is a lot different than the NFL, the NBA, and the NHL. Those things are a lot more of a proven fact. Prospects are just like, you know what prospects are like? Prospects are like the money that they give away in strip joints, right? As soon as you step out of the place, they're literally, it's valueless, okay? So you might as well, while you're in the club, spend away, baby. Spend away. Here's Muffy on the main stage. Here comes George Lombard Jr. at third base. I don't want George Lombard to come up here and get his doors blown off in the batter's box. You know, I don't want his confidence to be hurt. And by the way, well, see, this is the thing. If there's a lockout next year, what does that do for his development? What does that do for his rookie year? You know how they bring guys up in August and it doesn't count towards their rookie year yet, and then next year is their full year? What happens with that? But you're exactly right, Mike. You hit the nail right on the head with the Cam Schlittler and Ben Rice thing. You couldn't be more. I was looking at Elmer Rodriguez Cruz in AAA 2 years ago. I saw Cam Schlittler. I was like, here's another guy like a Jordan Montgomery that couldn't find the strike zone with a compass. And, man, he looks like he's going to be good for the next 10 years.
100%, man. And
what's going on with your young stud, the pitcher? What happened to him this year?
I have a lot of young studs. You got to be more specific.
The guy that was in the World Baseball Classic.
Oh, McClaney, Nolan McClain. He started off well over the first couple of starts of the season. Ran into a little bump in the road about 4 or 5 starts there. Couldn't really find the strike zone. But over his last 10 or 11 starts, the kid's been right back to form, just like he was last year. So that's extremely encouraging to see because a lot of people anointed him right away, too, after just 7 starts last year. He's kind of back to that form now, finding the strike zone. I'm very encouraged, to say the least, of what I saw from Nolan McClain.
As we're speaking, Mike, you speak it into reality, is Cam Schlittler has just given up a 2-run bomb to the St. Louis
They should have traded for
Cardinals.
a catcher. He would have called something different.
I told you should have moved Cam Schlittler. I told you should have got rid of that Schlittler guy. Also,
how many? See, this is where the pressure comes in, bro. Because like a guy like Luis Garcia, I've seen it all the time with the Mets, but it's not the Mets are not the Yankees. A guy like Garcia slashing, dominating over there in Washington. Not many eyeballs on you. You put those pinstripes on, things change. And I saw what he said about the proudness of being a Yankee now because he grew up, his entire family was Yankee fans and all that other stuff about being proud to be a Yankee. And I think Ramos said the same thing. These guys that love the Yankees, but it's a different pressure now. Like this isn't Washington anymore. You're not batting next to What happened? Actually, what happened to the C.J. Abrams stuff? I would have loved to see the Yankees grab him.
Yeah, me too.
He's a guy you trade Lombard for.
They probably told him. They probably told him. I'm looking at something right now. They probably told him that, hey, we'll give you Anthony Volpe, and he started running for the hills. Hold on. Here's the last guy the New York Yankees got at the trade deadline.
He's a pitcher.
Here's the last guy that always wanted to be a Yankee, okay? Oh, this buffoon, who's a pitcher now.
Looks like a cockatoo.
that looks like me. I look like Kate +8 when I wake up with my hairdo.
Yeah, that was a rough deal. That was a rough deadline. That was
well, and he's the poster child for the analytics nonsense that the New York Yankee fans wants to vomit in their soup when they watch the Yankees.
No. I mean, have you heard anything timetable-wise in regards to I saw Stanton was hitting off of This isn't a good test.
I know. You can't
Stanton was hitting off
Tell me what happened today, Mike.
I just started laughing because I saw he was pitching. He was hitting against live pitching, and I said, "Okay, great, Stanton." But it's Carlos Rodon throwing.
And it's Rodon! Yeah, scrambled eggs in his brain, chips in his elbow. Now it's a full Western omelet. Another guy that was put on the 7-day IL. Can they just start calling the 7-day IL the 78-day IL? Are they missing a 0 on the 7-day?
So is that anything new with I know the Judge stuff. Judge and Bellinger worry me a little bit because I know 4 to 6 weeks for the hamstring kind of freaks me out, especially when the weather gets cold. Well, I sound like I know what I'm talking about, but
no. You're exactly right though. You're exactly right. Dude.
The hamstrings are very tricky, and I always look at it as if they say 4 to 6, I look at it as 6 to 8, especially with older players. Even though Bellinger's a tremendous athlete. But I mean,
bet you that's what you tell all the girls. But yeah, no, like that's completely a factor, bro. I remember this is back in the day. I'm watching the Yankee game. The Yankees are playing the Kansas City Royals in August. Kansas City, Missouri in August is like somebody opened up a furnace and you jumped in, okay? And it's humid. Randy Johnson's in the dugout. This is when the Yankees had Randy Johnson. And he's stretching out his back. And I'm like, bro, this guy's going to be cooked in October because before Al Gore invented global warming, it actually got cold in October around here. And, like, it's so funny, actually. I was talking about that with me and Playoff Patty, that we still dress for playoff games like it's 1990 October. We dress in layers, and we wind up getting heat exhaustion because it's still 78 degrees outside.
Yeah, it's crazy. But I mean, the Mets, when I went to Game 3 of the World Series over a decade ago, back in my day when the Mets were in the World Series 11 years ago, I went to Game 3 at Citi Field, and it wasn't cold, but I'm there in just a regular long sleeve and not like sweatpants, but I wasn't freezing.
Well, this is why we need to get you back to the World Series, and we need to get you back to the playoffs, Mike, is because the New York Mets cannot make back-to-back playoffs like they got an allergy to it.
Yeah, people act like Stearns ruined this franchise. This franchise has been ruined for decades, man. 40 years of decades. Man.
It's like my Jets. I've never seen I talk to Met fans and they're just perplexed. And listen, man, I am, you know me, I'm a realist when it comes to baseball. You're definitely more of a half is glass full kind of guy, and you got to be that with being a Mets fan. But like I even said to you, man, like Stearns in baseball, man, the less moves that you make and the less chances you take, usually they're the better thing. It's like, hey, we got 5 new guys and they're all going to work out. It's like, no. And that's what happened with the Yankees this year. With the run-it-back Yankees, with the Toronto Blue Jays. What happened with both of their offenses last year? Guys had career years, like Trent Grisham, and guys in Toronto were having career years. You turn around. Now Trent Grisham is on the back of a can of beef stew, and Vladimir Guerrero Jr. has 6 home runs this year. Everybody went down. What goes up must come down in baseball, and the Yankees were due for a down year, and that's why Brian Cashman, they said, didn't do enough in the offseason. And now it looks like Brian Cashman didn't do enough during the trade deadline to New York Yankee fans.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that I've been going back and forth with Met fans for a couple of months now, especially today. Like I said in my video before, like again, if you're anti Cashman or if you're anti Stearns, you're not going to like anything they do, even if even if it's a good thing. Like today, the Mets traded for like 7 prospects, with dealing Brooks Raley and dealing Brazaban and dealing other guys before that. And the Mets got back like 7 or 8 guys from those specific players, pitchers, hitters, it doesn't matter. And it was just, oh, Stearns is only going for quantity over quality. He doesn't care about getting better prospects. He goes out and gets a top 50 prospect from the Chicago Cubs in their in MLB's pipeline, number 2 in their system. And then Met fans go, that's it? That's all he gets? That's where the rubber doesn't meet the road for me. And it just makes me I can't be on the side of I hate X player or X general manager so much that I'm just gonna ignore positive things that they do as long as they're trying to help my team win. Once he's gone, we
Yeah.
can bash him.
Met fans are like, hey, Stearns traded for the prisoner of Azkaban. What's he doing over here?
That's it.
What's going on? No, they are on. So this is either Stearns lost his marbles and lost his Midas touch, or what the New York Mets are doing is a full gut of the house. Because when he got in there, the farm system was nonsense. He didn't have any prospects. He had to reverse the curse with the New York Mets because the farm system wasn't in good shape. And the actual infrastructure of the New York Mets. But you know what? It seems like he still has the confidence of Cohen in him. Cohen believes in his vision, whatever it is, and I think just Cohen's vision is the fact that he's getting a casino done, so he don't give a shit. So he's letting Stearns do it. And you know what? He is getting equity back, but like we've said before, you can shit in one hand and hope in the other with prospects and see which one fills up first, Mike.
Yeah. And one thing about the deadline or the prospects or anything like that. What do you usually say at the end of all your videos? If you can't be good, be bad,
baby.
right?
Yeah.
So I don't want to be in purgatory, okay? If the Mets had re-signed all the guys they've wanted to re-sign, do you see what the Texas Rangers are doing? Do you see what the San Francisco Giants are doing? Do you see what the Baltimore Orioles are currently doing?
Yeah.
They're trying to gut all of the contracts that they just signed. The Rangers are they were trying to get rid of Nimmo and Seager and DeGrom and all of these guys that they signed. Devers on the Giants, Adames on the Giants. All of the guys that they lock into these long-term garbage deals, they're all trying to sell off. I would rather be this bad, and it might sound stupid. I would rather be as bad as the Mets are with ultimate flexibility of the roster and the payroll after this year, instead of being in one of those positions where you're locked into multiple long-term brutal contracts.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say.
You know, listen, as we know, prospects are a crapshoot. I mean, look at the Mets that went to the World Series against the Kansas City Royals. They brought up all those guys, didn't equate to wins. Look at the Baby Bombers. You know, we thought that they were going to have they were going to name the championship, name the stadium after the Baby Bombers. 0 rings, nobody panned out. And now, fast forward to the Baltimore Orioles. Remember 3 years ago, we're like, holy shit, look at what they're building out of the farm system. They had Halladay, they had all these guys. And now they're selling because none of them panned out. And that's the thing. It's almost like the quarterback in the NFL, Mike. It takes like 5 years to figure these guys out. And now the way that baseball is contractually set up right now at the moment is that you need to get guys in their first 5 years before you have to pay them. A lot of small markets try to do that. And if a guy doesn't pan out in 5 years, you got to move him. That's why the catcher from the Colorado Rockies was actually available. Everyone's like, why are the Rockies going to trade this guy who's hitting 30 home runs? Because they have a system. They're trying to get to 90 wins within 3 years. They do it in steps because they don't have the money to do it in the microwave. They got to cook, and hopefully it comes out the right way.
Yeah, and they pray that they go on some sort of lucky run within that window, get themselves to a World Series, and hopefully win it. And then that'll buy them like a decade of just people saying, wow, could you remember when the Rays or the Rockies won a World Series? That was amazing. But again, yeah, I mean, dude, the Orioles are a crazy example of a team that, I think they traded Tyler Ward as well. And you look at Holiday, who's been a complete bust. Rushman, who's turning out to be injured all the time and then can't just stay on the field. But they did sign Pete Alonso to a 5-year deal. And that's where nothing makes sense.
Well, yeah. Well, it doesn't make sense, and it does at the same point because they have been doing this shit since Rafael Palmeiro, bro.
Miguel Tejada.
They haven't had pitching since 1990. Since Jim Palmer left the building, they haven't had Well, Mike Mussina was good, but they still won nothing. They never have enough pitching on that team, and they can't do it, and they've had some bad luck and stuff like that. But it just shows that it's woven in the DNA. The Baltimore Snorioles are the same goddamn thing. It's the same problem. But Pete the Meat's having a great year, everybody.
Yeah, he'll have his 30 and 95, but they'll just
driving
be the
around his jet ski with wheels on it in the infield that he brought to the winter meetings.
I have one more question for you. After the upgrades today, I know Hicks went to the Rays, the catcher, and then Rushman, not even healthy yet, so I'm not even worried about him with the Red Sox until he's on the field.
He's not even playing. It's insane.
Who do you think is more of a viable threat to the AL East to get in the Yankees' way of winning the division? The Red Sox won 15 in a row. That's not sustainable, but the Rays have been on that consistent pace kind of all year long. So,
it's a great question. So I'm going to split the baby in half. I don't want to face the Boston Red Sox pitching, but I don't want to face the Tampa Bay Rays that puts the ball in play and plays good defense. So I've said this before, is the fact that the reason that the Dodgers and last year that the Toronto Blue Jays own the New York Yankees is they make contact with the ball. They make the Yankees field the ball, and the Tampa Bay Rays do that at a high rate. Not to mention, the Tampa Bay Rays have just had the Yankees' number. No matter, it seems like whatever their record is, whenever they play these guys, it's always a tough game. The Boston Red Sox, the Yankees, we beat them in the first round last year, and we were lucky to get out of there. And in fact, I couldn't enjoy the series because I just wanted it over with. Then we got into the series against the Toronto Blue Jays. That's why you said home field advantage is paramount, and I absolutely agree with you. But I don't think I want to face the Red Sox because I couldn't stomach a loss to them.
Yeah, I know that happens.
I can almost make sense in my mind, and I can lose half my mind instead of all of it, losing to the Tampa Bay Rays, because that makes sense because their style of play. But the Boston Red Sox, they play open-ended, and also the Boston Red Sox have Caleb Durbin from the Yankees farm system. He's a third baseman. He's playing lights out. He's a tough guy. He's a gritty guy. He's my favorite kind of baseball player, and now he's on the Red Sox because we had to give him up for low Lev Dev.
It all comes back to low Lev Dev, doesn't it?
It always comes. It's like low Lev Dev is the Kevin Bacon of baseball. All roads lead to low Lev Dev. And let those roads lead you over to Mike at Pudgy Boyz Sports on Instagram and right here on YouTube. Guys, we're going to be doing football coverage wall to wall this year. Hit the notifications. And like I said, Mike joins me on the membership show on Mondays for $1.99 a month. You get twice the show for half the dough. Also, have you gone to the New York Nuts merch store? That's the beautiful blue link underneath the video. And we got T-shirts 100% made in the USA, just like yours truly. And remember, if you can't be good, be bad, baby. Good night, Canada. See you after the Yankee game. St. Louis Cardinals 2-0 right now. Cam Schluttler going to have to knock it down. Say you love to the people.